Hello all, this is Barbie. I'm going to try to go over real quick kind of how I make these little pockets that I've been doing for the journals. Overall measurements for it is going to be 18, a piece of fabric that's 18 long by 13 wide. And then the front pocket will be, like right here, would be 7 inches. And the back side would be whatever is left over from the 18 minus the 7. Because the way I normally do it, I'm probably going to confuse you here, but let me show you. I had to cut this tapestry up. I didn't have because of the way the rabbits were positioned. The other little rabbit was right here, and if you use this as a flip over, it would have made the rabbit upside down. So I had to cut this piece of tapestry up in order to get the rabbit's right side up on both sides. So that's why this one is a bit different. So overall, when I finish sewing it, it's going to be the same measurements as what I'm telling you. But let me show you this real quick. This might be a little easier for you to understand. When I opened this whole piece of fabric up, it was 18 inches long, and I had it 13 inches wide. I folded the bottom up here because this doesn't make any difference. The way the fabric is, you do it like I'm telling you right now, for 7 inches here, and then that left enough when I flipped it over like so, it had a 7-inch flap. So that's how this lines out with the measurements I gave you. So if you just have a plain piece of fabric and you're not dealing with what I was just talking about on the tapestry, it's very simple and straightforward. I decided I wanted to, like what I'm showing you right here, I wanted this little under piece of fabric, which you can put on there or not. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. You could put layers of fabric there if you wanted to, just to make it, have some interest here is all. It's all that's for. By adding lace to, and you can put it in any way you want to. The little snippets is up to you. It's not mandatory, but you can do whatever you want to. I mean, just use your own artistic flair. So I don't know how far I'll get on this one, just because it is a bit different. But I had this little piece of fabric for the longest time, and I wanted to do something with it, so hopefully I can get this done. Now, I've already cut a piece of fabric here that I'm going to use for the flap. And this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to sew this to the back side. Oh, excuse me. This is going to be the back side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this piece of fabric. It's going to be like this, where the little bunny is peeping up from the bottom. And I'm going to sew this piece of fabric on the back side. And this is 2 pieces of fabric. This is a 5-inch piece here, and this is a 4-inch piece. And again, you could make this any way you want, but this is how I'm doing it. And then I'm going to stitch my lace on, and I haven't decided yet. I think I'm gonna stitch it on the top like this. I think that's how I'm going to do it, and just let it peep over the top, or the bottom, excuse me, of the coffee dyed broadcloth fabric. I think that's how I'm going to do it. If not, the only other way that I had thought about doing it was take it and have this hanging over, having the lace coming out from the bottom, like so. But if I do it like that, I'm gonna lose a big part of that lace up there, and I don't want to do that. So I think what I am going to do is, like I told you to begin with, like that. And then I'm going to stitch this, let it hang over just a little bit so the rabbit's peeping out from underneath the little lace. I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we got a game plan here. All right, let's see what we can get accomplished. Okay, the first thing I'm going to have to do is, there's going to be a lot of sewing, and I'm not sure if you want to hang around for that, but because it's just sewing. But if you don't want to see the sewing part, well, then you can just fast forward it or mute it or whatever. I'll go ahead and go through the whole process for those that might want to see it. Okay, instead of doing, this fabric is very thick, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to top stitch it like so. Do I want it like that? No. I think I want it like that. Yeah. So I left this a little bit long, so I wouldn't have to worry about it being too short. So I think what I'm going to do is find my pins, number one. And just stitch it on. The only problem with that is you're not going to be able to see me. I mean, you won't be able to see how much I've got underneath. So I'm going to take my pin and do it like this on either end. And then I'm going to flip it over. Make sure I can tell, see by looking at the end here, I can tell if I have to, if I've got it somewhat even. It's not that critical, but you don't want to have it 2 inches down here and 1 inch down here because your flap will be going cockeyed. You understand what I mean? So I'm going to look at this, and I have lapped it over about 1 inch, and it's about the same on that end, so we're good to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just come along and try to verify that I've got about 1 inch. You can see it. I'm not going to put a bunch of pins in. I'm just going to have enough that it holds it somewhat straight. And then I'm going to stitch along there. Okay, so since I'm doing that, maybe I should go ahead and catch that. So if I leave that, I like that. I hadn't even thought of it, see there? So if I leave that, ouch, pin in the finger, oh, it'll give it a bit of dimension. Yeah. Thing of it is I have to be careful and not and catch both pieces. So I think I'll pull that in just a little bit more because I only have about 1 inch to work with. Yeah, that should work. So I'm leaving myself about a 1/2 inch there. And the same thing down here. And again, you could put it all the way. I mean, you could go ahead and stitch it before you lay it down, but you know, if you don't catch it all, you can always come back and catch it after the fact too. So it's not that critical either. Okay, so we're going to stitch that down, and then this I'm going to just let that hang over. This part here, about where the little eyes are, I'm thinking is kind of a guide I'm going to use. And yep, I think that's where I'm going to put that. I'm going to go ahead and pin it. Might as well. So I'm using this little eye here as kind of a guide as to where I want my lace to hang over. It should be pretty even by doing it that way, I'm thinking. I'm hoping. Again, it's not that big a deal. Okay, now that I've got it all pinned, I don't think you can see me sew, but uh-oh, that didn't catch. You see there? Make sure it catches. Okay. That should be good to go. All right. Let me get this sewed. Make sure we're... Now, I think I'm going to use a zigzag just because it catches a little bit more. Come on. I'm just kind of readjusting to make sure that everything is on course. Bit of bunching here, so I'm going to take off a pin to make sure that, ouch, it doesn't bunch. I'm going to tell you what. These pins are sharp. Let me see. Make sure I'm on track here. Okay. Go ahead and clip this and get that other part sewn in. That worked out pretty good, I think. All right. Every time you do something like this, I mean, you know, there may be a little few glitches, but that's how you learn. Now, where do I want to sew on this? I guess I want to sew up here. I'm going to go ahead and use a zigzag stitch just because it will catch more. And I'm going to try to stay straight here somewhat. Let's see what we got. Yep, I gotta cut the sides. Gonna be about right there. Now you can kind of see the little bunny peeping out. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, I like that. All right, let's get the sides cut so we can see what we're doing here. I've already got this squared up. And to square it up, if you know anything about tapestry, you know that, when you do it, it's kind of wonky. Just because different threads pull things different ways. So I use my grid here to square everything up so that I would be sewing somewhat square. Yep. All right. I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to use my little, I don't know what you call these things, but you know what I'm doing here. I think this to me works the best just because it kind of keeps everything in line. I'm going to flip it around, do the same thing. You know, fabric does, no matter how hard you try, fabric does move. And so you have to adjust it. Make sure I'm square over there. And cut this. Okay. Now, oh, the bottom. I started to say that was kind of long. The bottom. Now I don't know how this is going to work with that little thing down at the bottom, but I thought I'd try it just to give it a bit more width. Okay. We could even use that as a little snippet up at the top there. Who knows? Don't throw it away anyhow. Okay. Now it's time to stitch the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch across here first with the zigzag stitch, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to stitch across there first because this is ravels a whole lot. So we're going to use some other stuff on it after I get it stitched. Let me get that done first. Sure wants to ride off of that thick fabric. And the other thing is we could put some kind of a binding on top of this like we did on the other one. But let me see. This is mainly just to keep it from fraying because this is where you're going to be moving in and out of everything. And that's why I did the zigzag on that. Okay. Well, it might be fun to put something on there, wouldn't it? What could we put on there? Let's see. How about if we ripped a little bit of that on there? Let's just put that all the way across. Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's do that. Okay, let me get this ripped here real quick. All right. If I had my iron over here, it'd be better if I ironed it out straight because when you rip something, it kind of makes it go wonky. But you get a straighter piece of fabric that way too. Okay, now if we're going to put that on there like so, I think what I'd like to do is have it hanging down just a little bit, just for fun. So let me think here. I'm going to cut this a little bit long and get rid of some of these strings. We're going to have plethora of strings, but I'm going to use fray check on it once I get everything sewed to make sure that it doesn't keep raveling too bad. Although I think the stitching will stop it, I still don't want it to ravel too much. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like this. And then I'm going to flip it over and sew it. Like I said, if this was ironed, it would be a lot easier just because it wouldn't be kind of curling up here and there from it being ripped. But I don't have room to leave my iron in my ironing board plugged in, so I can't do that. And I can't do that in video, put it that way. Okay, let's see if we can get this done. Now on this, I'm just going to do a straight stitch. Yeah, that's good right there. Oh, I got it on the wrong one. No wonder. Trying to say, what is it doing? Going backward and forward. Oh! I thought it was hung up or something. Too late in the day for me to be doing anything here. Brain dead. Alright, let me get, this is kind of flared out just because of me ripping it. Okay. Now, my thought is I will flip it over like so, just to give it a little bit of fun thing, and it'll also protect that front of the pocket there. Now, let's see what we got to do here. I hope I'm in frame. I should be. So I'm going to kind of hold that down, get my pins over here, and pin it down. There you go. So I'm laying this down here flat. Pinning it down. Now, I'm gonna just sew a straight stitch all the way down, and then I'll do my sides. I'm going to stay away from that fringed edge just a bit. Almost there. All right. Yeah, that's cute. There you go. Yeah, well, that's kind of crooked the way I have it there, but still, you get the idea. All right, let's see what else we can get done here. Now, if I put the fray check on there, that'll probably be fine. Although, I could put a piece of fabric inside of there too, but I'm not going to do that on camera if I end up doing it. Okay, let's see what we got here, how we're going to do this. Number one, we got to get this cut. See if I can get it cut straight. Same thing here. Okay. All right. Now, this little bottom, I need it to be folded in half so that it doesn't, I don't get it cockeyed. I'm going to start down here and pin down here to make sure I get this folded in half correctly. And then pin it up here at the top and pin it. Because this fabric tends to walk, I'm going to put a few more pins in it than I normally would. Okay, we do that first side, then we'll do the second. And I'm just going to use a straight stitch, I think, for this one. And I'm going to start all the way up at the top. And this is mainly to keep it from fraying too far in. As I have to come up on this little roll part here, I'm going to lift my presser foot down, up rather, and so it doesn't bunch it up too much. I'm still trying to bunch it up, so I'm going to lift it up again and keep going. There we go, got it caught. Now if there's any overlap or whatever, then I can always trim it after I get it stitched. But you see how this, well, you can't see probably isn't in frame. But that is trying to gather. Okay, coming to the end. I don't know if my machine's gonna like going over the top of this thick stuff, but too bad. You gotta do it. It did it. Can't believe it did it. Okay. Now let's see if we can get the other side done. Again, I need to make sure I'm pinching this together down here, and you wouldn't have this problem if you didn't do what I had done here, trying to put a bit of a bottom in it. Ouch. Determined to pin myself. And one more here. Okay, this time I'm going to start down at the bottom. I may have to coax it along a bit to get started. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't ball up my thread. There we go. I got over it. All right, let's go. All right. to that fringy part, which is trying to roll it up. So again, I just lift up my presser foot, keep going. All right, got her done. Yay. See this balled up, that thread right there? I thought that was what was happening. But I can pick it out to a degree and it'll be fine. If not, I can stitch back over it. So, there you go. It's the little purse. Go. Let me see if I've been in the scene. Oh, okay. Looks like I was in there most of the time anyhow. Okay. So from here, I would go ahead and do some little decorative something on here like I've done on the other ones. I am going to take my fray check and go along. I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'm going to go along the edge right in front of where that seam is, right before I get to the seam, to keep from fraying in too far. And since this is a really frayable type fabric, but just to show you, this is how it would look with your little journal in there. And it's going to be really cute. So I'm going to probably do some kind of little decorative something or other here. But by putting your journal in there, kind of gives you an idea of if you want to put something on here, and if so, where you want to put it. And then this would be the back. And I like the way that turned out like that. Gives a little bit of interest along there, since I had to end up stitching the flap on, which I don't have on the other things I did. So I hope you give it a try and see what you can come up with. Once you get started in doing it, well, you'd be surprised what kind of little fun ideas pop into your head. Okay, that'll be it for today. This is Barbie saying bye-bye-bye. Have a fun day crafting, and let me know if you decide to give this a try. Post some pictures on Instagram or link your video so I can see it. Have a great day. Until next time. See ya.